colleagues on the podium, to the Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable Speaker, to Madam Chief Secretary, and to my good friend Dr. Kumar. Allow me also to greet all of you and to thank you for the hospitality that you have extended to the United Nations on this occasion. On behalf of the 27 United Nations agency, funds and programs that have the privilege to work in India, allow us to congratulate the government of Sikkim for its 2014 Human Development Report and for its incredible human development achievements. Right now, around the world, countries are racing to achieve the 8 Millennium Development Goals before the MDG framework expires next year in 2015. Because of this race, everyone is looking for global best practices, for the governments that have done the most and done it the fastest to achieve human development. What is clear from the Human Development Report that Sikkim is issuing today is that Sikkim is a global best practice. In preparing for today's speech, we did a lot of research, and I know you all know this, but it can't be said enough that what has been done in Sikkim in the last 14 years is wholly impressive. In fact, it's unprecedented. There is no other country in the world under similar conditions that has been as successful. The United Nations, the world, salutes the government. What the United Nations and the people of the world are saluting, and what they need to learn, is how a small, landlocked, mountainous state can build on its strength, and by working from the bottom up, under strong, decisive, visionary leadership that is committed to egalitarianism and solidarity, how in one generation they can beat poverty. That's what the world needs to learn from Sikkim. No other government under similar conditions has made that kind of commitment and has achieved what you have achieved. Chief Minister, of all of the achievements of Sikkim, Dr. Kumar and the HDR have shared with you many today. Of all of your achievements, I hope you will allow us to stress again, to talk again about 3 that are truly breathtaking. First, Sikkim is growing, and it's growing fast. In less than 10 years, Sikkim has grown more than 15% each year. Again, we did research before we came here today, and in case you don't know this, of course it's the highest among Indian states, but it is also the highest in all of Asia. Number 2, people in Sikkim are living better. Within 6 years, as we've already discussed, people living below the level of poverty have dropped by 70%. This is outstanding. Since World War II, there has been only one other country in the entire world that has achieved, Mr. Chief Minister, what you have done so quickly. We also know that Sikkim has the lowest percentage of underrated children in India, the lowest Gini coefficient on urban inequality in India, and the highest net school enrollment rate in the country. The third, truly breathtaking and outstanding achievement is that in a country where half of the population defecates openly, Sikkim is the first state to have universal sanitation. The credit for these achievements goes to the people of Sikkim, to the state's bold leadership, and to the public officials who serve the people and who work to achieve the administration's goals. There are some key lessons about how Sikkim has achieved its goals that grab your attention. Dr. Kumar has talked about several. In fact, Shiv, when you were making your list, I was comparing my notes to see if we picked out the same lessons. Many of the lessons that you emphasize, we also care about, but there are a couple I'd like to add. First, it's so striking that the government has invested in women, that you've made sure that women are fully part of public work and public service. The facts stand for themselves. 30% of all positions in public service are reserved for women. 40% of the workforce are women, and 60% of all the workers in the integrated schemes are women. These numbers, as we know, are higher than the averages anywhere else in India. The second lesson that we've learned is that public administration, again we've talked about this, has been decentralized to the front line. Panchayati Raj institutions are being used, as we've heard, to ensure that services are delivered in the most efficient and the most effective way to people. Functions are clustered, planning is being done from the bottom up, and social audits are being used to ensure that public monies are spent wisely and intelligently. The Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration was given to Sikkim last year for this work. And already, in case you don't know, Sikkim is being considered for the highest and most prestigious Global Governance Award. That award will be announced shortly, and I hope the third great lesson learned is that environmental sustainability has been made a top priority in Sikkim. Sikkim, as we've already heard, is one of the world's 34 biodiversity hotspots. It's home to 700 medicinal species and is part of, as we've also heard, a fragile and at-risk Himalayan ecosystem that contains 2/3 of all of the freshwater reserves in the entire world. The steps that the government is taking to conserve this ecosystem, for example, by banning grazing in forests, deserves global praise and recognition. When the UN is asked about the places that have done the most to reach the MDGs and ensure universal human development the fastest, Sikkim is one of the governments that's at the very top of the list. Dr. Kumar Shiv said that he hoped that the United Nations would become an ambassador for Sikkim. Mr. Chief Minister, one of the things that the United Nations is privileged to do is a documentary series, a series on those governments that have achieved the most and achieved the fastest. I hope that you will allow the United Nations the honor of coming and doing a documentary on what you have achieved